Pac-Man looks to eat another welterweight, Holyfield continues onwards, and it's the finals of the Bellator welterweight tournament. Welcome to the Fight Network's preview show.
Show me the money.
Hey there, fight fans, it's John Pollock with you from the Ballroom in downtown Toronto as we are looking ahead to the biggest fight of 2011 as Manny Pacquiao will take on Shane Mosley. Fight Network boxing analyst Corey Erdman is going to be joining me as we break down that fight, as well as Evander Holyfield and Brian Nielsen, and we're also going to take a look at Bellator 43 this coming weekend. But first up, we'll take a look at the huge fight taking place from the MGM Grand Garden Arena this Saturday night.
The main event Saturday night at the MGM Grand Garden Arena will feature 52-3-2 WBO welterweight champion and many people's pound-for-pound king Manny Pacquiao making the second defense of his WBO gold against 39-year-old Sugar Shane Mosley, who enters the biggest fight thus far of 2011 with a record of 46 wins, 6 losses, and 1 draw. One would have to go back to March of 2005 for the last blemish on Pacquiao's career and comes off back-to-back unanimous decision victories, while Mosley went 0-1-1 last year with a loss to Floyd Mayweather Jr. and a draw with Sergio Mora. Starting his career at the age of 16, the fighting pride of the Philippines will face one of the toughest opponents to date in Shane Mosley. Manny Pacquiao has dominated the sport of boxing since 2005 and is widely regarded as the #1 pound-for-pound boxer today. He has gained stardom that far exceeds any of his peers and has toppled all challenges set in front of him. Since his career started, the Pac-Man has been fighting much larger and stronger opponents. His journey began at 106 pounds, and he's moved up to 147, winning belts in every division. In his most recent fight, the Pac-Man turned in a one-sided performance, smashing the much larger and harder punching Antonio Margarito. Under the tutelage of master technician Freddie Roach, Pacquiao's career has elevated to new heights. His aspirations as a politician have taken him away from the sport that made him, but has not appeared to be a hindrance in the ring. As a congressman, he has captured the hearts of the international Filipino community.
Politics is more than a distraction. Politics is competition. He wants to be champion at that, and champion in politics is the presidency.
Constantly pressuring his opponents, the 147-pounder uses his offensive style to his advantage. The fight will show the world whether Manny Pacquiao can handle a slick fighter, the hardest puncher he has faced to date. The current WBO welterweight king will benefit from using all the tools in his arsenal. With the country of the Philippines behind him, the Pac-Man does have a lot to lose. With a political career that relies heavily on his boxing performances, a loss could throw his path to presidency into turmoil.
Just as he became the superb fighter that he is through hard work and learning, I really believe he can become the superb politician to be a president of the Philippines.
It will be up to Pacquiao and the mind behind the man, Freddie Roach, to stay focused and keep the many distractions away from the pound-for-pound king. In the biggest fight of his career, Sugar Shane Mosley will take on pound-for-pound king Manny Pacquiao. The consummate professional and legendary Mosley enters this fight as the underdog for the 3rd time in his last 4 outings.
I've been underdog for my last, 3 fights. Even Margarito was underdog.
Before Margarito, before you knocked him out, everybody had Margarito as the beast.
Coming off a disappointing and controversial draw against Sergio Mora, Mosley has his sights set on showing the public he can still hang with the best pugilists in the world. People question Mosley as a contender against Pacquiao. Doubting him because of his age and recent performances, Mosley was forced to leave his promotional team and start his own company, thus ensuring a shot against the champion.
I talked with Pacquiao, I talked with Freddie Roach. This is a fight that I really wanted. I know I can put me on and get me back on top.
Despite his accolades, Mosley's most prolific losses all come from defensive-minded fighters. Fighting against an aggressive fighter in Pacquiao, Mosley has an opportunity to apply his strengths. Using his slick movement to punch and counter opponents, this is a fight that is tailor-made for the Sugarman. Like Pacquiao, Mosley also has a strong force in his corner willing him towards victory in Nazim Richardson, longtime coach of Bernard Hopkins. With his training camp in Big Bear, California, Mosley has isolated himself from the distractions from the outside world.
I'm proud that we have the privilege to solve the puzzle that is Manny Pacquiao, but I feel as though we have the athlete that can do that.
The question of age has plagued Mosley ever since his fight against De La Hoya, but time and time again he has proven critics wrong.
What can I say? I'm going to definitely be ready May 7th to fight against Manny Pacquiao, who's a great fighter, a warrior, and these are the type of fights I love to be in.
As one of the toughest fighters, his age has become a motivating factor. Mosley wants people to remember why he's a legend. Feeling overlooked and slighted by boxing and its fans, Mosley is looking to shock the world with an upset by dethroning the seemingly indomitable force.
We're now joined by Fight Network boxing analyst Corey Erdman as we chat about this coming Saturday's huge fight between Sugar Shane Mosley and Manny Pacquiao. And first off, Corey, when you heard this fight was being made, obviously no shortage of fighters that would love this slot to fight Manny Pacquiao. It went to Shane Mosley. What did you think about that?
Well, judging by his last two fights, there's no reason why Shane Mosley should get this fight. I mean, save for 40 seconds against Floyd Mayweather when he landed the right hand. He was blown out by Floyd. And then, of course, that dreadful showing against Sergio Mora and what was a horrible pay-per-view showing as well. But the fact is that Shane Mosley is a big name. He's been a career B-side fighter who's been successful in these slots against Oscar De La Hoya and others. And he's an American fighter, and that goes a long way given that this fight is being promoted by Showtime and CBS.
Now, a lot of people, they go back to that Mayweather fight and look at that right hook. And I mean, almost the Sergio Mora fight hasn't even been brought up in the lead up for this one, obviously for certain reasons of that. But it seems that it's almost become a myth now, this Mosley resurgence that we saw against Mayweather in that round two.
And it very much is a myth because I don't believe that Floyd was as hurt as people say that he was. Floyd was able to take that right hand, and he was able to come forward. He was able to get close to Mosley, and Mosley wasn't able to do anything after that. And that really is what we have left in Shane Mosley right now. It's a guy who can land that one big right hand. He's not the swarming combination puncher that he once was. He's looking to set up power shots, and that's what he's going to have to rely upon against Pacquiao on Saturday.
What is Shane Mosley going to have to do in this fight to try and dictate the pace, and how is Nazim Richardson preparing Shane for this huge fight, obviously, with Manny Pacquiao?
Shane's going to have to look to load up that right hand, or he's going to have to become a completely different fighter. He does have a little bit of a height advantage, a reach advantage on Pacquiao. He's a little bit longer, but Shane's never been that kind of guy to go out and jab and win a fight that way. But we have seen older fighters like Bernard Hopkins reinvent themselves on the fly, and Nazim Richardson is the guy who was at the helm of that, so maybe we'll see a completely different Shane Mosley, but the one we've seen recently, he's just going to have to look for that home run.
Ultimately, is this fight going to come down to the speed game of Manny Pacquiao? No matter what weight he has gone up to and fluctuated in, he's been able to maintain that speed game, which is quite impressive.
It is the speed game that's important for Pacquiao, and I think it's important that we really stress that it is the speed game because Manny Pacquiao doesn't have destructive welterweight power. He didn't have destructive power at 154 against Margarito. He's not blowing guys out of the water, but he is overwhelming them with speed. And the Shane Mosley that we've seen in the past two bouts hasn't been the kind of fighter that's been able to defend himself the way that he used to. He doesn't seem to have those reflexes. His punches seem a little bit jiggly, I guess, if you will. He's not the guy of old, and I think that 1,000 punches per fight and the kind of output that Pacquiao can bring to the table is probably going to be too much for Sugar Shane.
Corey, your pick for Saturday night.
I don't think that Pacquiao is going to be able to stop Shane Mosley. I think that Mosley goes all the way, and it's probably the swan song for Shane Mosley, but I think even making it to the 12th round is probably good enough for Sugar Shane. I pick Pacquiao by a decision.
Entering the room now, the welterweight champion of the world, the congressman from Sarangani province, Manny Pacquiao.
This is a good fight on May 7, and what I can say is good luck to both of us, and especially to Mosley team. Hope you train hard for this fight, and I will train hard for this fight. Yes. You know, my concern is how to make people happy and how we can entertain the people who love boxing, and that's my concern. I have to train hard because I don't want to disappoint them, the people who are going to watch the fight. And what I'm trying to do is, to do my best, and do everything. And I'm always praying that nobody get hurt on May 7. The fight will finish by, nobody hurt and everybody happy.
Well, another big fight for Manny Pacquiao. I look forward to this. We have an opponent with a different style. We're going to have to come up with a whole new game plan. And a lot of people are telling me this is an easy fight. And that's the worst thing in the world to say, because it's definitely not an easy fight. Shane has been there many times. He's going to rise to the occasion. He's fighting Manny Pacquiao. He will fight his best fight of his life, I feel, and we'll be fools to underestimate you, Shane. We will not do that. I promise you. And good luck, and the best man will win. Thank you.
Now, there's not much that you can say about Shane Mosley. Shane has been one of the bright stars in boxing for many, many years. His great battles with Oscar De La Hoya, his great fights, like the fight with Margarito. He's fought every fighter of our era, and he has comported himself with grace and dignity. And you know, Shane Mosley comes to fight. Shane Mosley knows what it means to be a professional fighter, what he owes to the fans, and that typifies the kinds of fights that Shane Mosley puts on. It's really a great pleasure, Shane, to introduce you again. I'm one of your greatest admirers. You're a really great, great man and a great fighter. The former champion, Shane Mosley.
This is the fight of, I believe, one of the biggest fights of my career, if not the biggest. Fighting a guy like Manny, which is a warrior. Who is a warrior? Who is, you know, a great guy, a great person. It doesn't have to be angry or mad at you to get in the ring and try to knock your head off. I'm the same way, so that's just gonna make the fight exciting. We're both competitors, so. And also, and I'm forgetting one thing before I leave. If you guys like to keep updates outside of the 360 and Showtime, definitely send me on Sugar Shane M on my Twitter. I'm always on there, and you can speak to me directly. I'm pretty sure some of you guys know already. Sugar Shane M. All right.
On May the 7th, we shall pull the biggest upset in the history of boxing.
We made this fight because we believe this fight is the most entertaining fight that could be made with Manny Pacquiao, matching him with Shane Mosley. Now look, we know that Shane struggled, other than the punch with Mayweather, that one punch, struggled with Mayweather, struggled with Mora. But styles make fights. Shane, at his age, would find it difficult fighting a defensive fighter who ran for him. Shane's strength always was, and still is, fighting a fighter who comes to him. Witness the Margarito fight. And we know how Manny Pacquiao fights, and we know he's not hiding, and we know it's going to be a fight. And in that type of fight, believe me, Shane will shine and Manny will shine, and people will see real entertainment, because that's the business that we're in, providing real entertainment.
We'll take a short break, but when we come back, there's more boxing action coming up this weekend as Evander Holyfield enters the ring one more time against Brian Nielsen as the Fight Network's preview show continues.
I love that. I love a good scrap.
At the age of 48, Evander Holyfield will return to the ring this Saturday night for the second time this year as the 43-10-2 former heavyweight and cruiserweight champion meets 46-year-old Brian Nielsen, who has not fought professionally since April of 2002, entering this bout with a strong on-paper record of 64 wins, 2 losses, and 43 knockouts. 1 week after 47-year-old two-division world champion Randy Couture called it a career at UFC 129, a 48-year-old two-division champion will enter the ring and continue his Hall of Fame career in Evander Holyfield. It will be the 57th professional bout of Holyfield's career, with a resume that includes a bronze medal at the 1984 Summer Games as a light heavyweight and a decorated professional career surrounded by gold at both the cruiserweight and heavyweight ranks. Though his doubters may outnumber his accomplishments in 2011, it is Holyfield that believes he can exit the sport as a heavyweight champion. He will walk into Copenhagen, Denmark this Saturday, holding the less prestigious WBF Heavyweight Championship in a non-title affair against a veteran in 46-year-old Brian Nielsen, who has not fought since April of 2002. Nielsen comes into this fight with a 64-2 record, his most famous fight being a 2001 loss to Mike Tyson. This is not a fight that will light the boxing world on fire this weekend, nor one that Holyfield will likely reminisce about when he enters the Boxing Hall of Fame whenever he chooses to hang up the gloves. But for Holyfield, it is simply to prove he is still a viable heavyweight and someone that can still perform at a level where his legacy is not tarnished, and thus sending a message to those doubters that he is still the real deal.
Corey, lost in all the promotion for this Saturday night is a hell of a heavyweight title fight over in Denmark, as Evander Holyfield, at the ripe old age of 48, will be taking on 46-year-old Brian Nielsen.
Are we calling this a title fight? I mean, is that what this is? I mean, I'll tell you what it is. This is exactly what Brian Nielsen has done throughout his entire career, except the difference is that he's taken 7 years away from the ring. Brian Nielsen has made a career out of fighting fading heavyweights. He's beaten up the corpses of Orlin Norris, Larry Holmes. He tried to beat up Mike Tyson and failed in that respect.
Everyone has some hiccups, Corey.
Everyone has some hiccups, fair enough. But this is what he's done his entire career. I think that he's bitten off a little bit more than he can chew, even in the corpse of Evander Holyfield. I think he's probably going to be a little bit too much.
Okay, in all seriousness here, Brian Nielsen, 9 years out of the game, coming back here at the age of 46. Why and how is this fight happening?
There's money. There's money involved, and the Danish boxing populace. Is
there a big demand in Denmark for their home countrymen?
There is, and if you look back at when Mikkel Kessler fought Carl Froch in the last round of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic, that fight was on the front page of every single newspaper. It was the lead in every newscast. Mikkel Kessler is God in Denmark, and Brian Nielsen was the same way, and that's the reason why he never even wanted to step up in competition in the heavyweight division, because he can make money doing exactly this. And Evander Holyfield, for his troubles, he's going to make $500,000 in what should be an easy fight for him. So why not do it if you're both guys?
It's going to be a fight, Corey, where the entire country of Denmark stops to take notice of the return of Brian Nielsen. Who are you taking in this big return bout for Brian Nielsen?
I'm going to take Evander Holyfield. Brian Nielsen was in paltry shape at the best of times during his career. I can't imagine what he's going to look like at 47 years of age, staggering into the ring. The least that we can say about Evander Holyfield at this point in his career is that he's in shape, he's chiseled, and he can still beat up on C and D level heavyweights. And Brian Nielsen isn't even that. He's an F level heavyweight. Evander Holyfield via stoppage sometime before the 7th round.
Everyone loves the car crash.
The undercard of Pacquiao versus Mosley will feature a rejuvenated Kelly the Ghost Pavlik, as the 36-2 former middleweight champion makes the leap to 168 pounds following a 2-month alcohol rehabilitation stay at the Betty Ford Clinic, and steps back into the ring to meet undefeated super middleweight Alfonso Lopez, a hard puncher who is far from an easy welcome to the 168-pound class for Pavlik. The Fight Network's preview show will roll on as we'll take a look at Bellator 43 taking place this weekend, which will feature the finals of the welterweight tournament as Rick Hahn meets Jay Huron Saturday night.
I'm here to get these victories and move forward and get some hardware wrapped around my waist.
The First Council Casino in Newkirk, Oklahoma is going to be the host of Bellator 43 this coming Saturday night, featuring the finals of their welterweight tournament as Jay Huron meets Rick Hahn.
Huron is considered the favorite in this division. He has the wrestling advantage.
Fighting out of the blue corner from Las Vegas, Nevada, Jay the Thoroughbred Huron.
An accomplished mixed martial artist with a highlight reel of victims that includes Jake Ellenberger, Joe Riggs, and Jason High, Extreme Couture standout Jay Huron is often forgotten in the discussion of top welterweight fighters. Since being released from the UFC back in 2005, Huron would have a strong run in the now-defunct International Fight League, capturing the organization's welterweight title. In 2009, the New York native signed with Strikeforce and would be matched up against Nick Diaz for the inaugural welterweight championship. Unfortunately, Diaz missed the pre-fight drug test and was replaced by Jesse Taylor. The contest was changed to a non-title bout, which Huron won by unanimous decision. This incident prompted a series of issues Huron would have with the San Jose-based promotion, and he would spend the majority of 2010 on the sidelines due to contractual issues. When his deal expired, Strikeforce opted not to re-sign him, and Bellator would snag up the free agent. In first-round welterweight tournament action, the 21-4 fighter defeated Anthony Lapsley.
Big takedown again.
How did you feel about your performance?
I'm back. And Huron would snap Brent Weidman's 11-fight win streak.
Huron catching that knee in the takedown.
Jay, the Thoroughbred Huron.
I'm here to get these victories and move forward and get some hardware wrapped around my waist. I'm hungry as ever. I'm eating soup with a fork. You know, I've been on the back burner for over a year, and I'm starving.
This Saturday night, Huron finds himself in the Bellator welterweight tournament final against Rick Hahn. The 2004 Olympic judoka burst on the Bellator scene last October, defeating Levon Maynard with a highlight reel finish.
Full ground and pound now from Rick Hahn, looking to finish in the dying seconds of the opening round.
He's definitely hurt.
And there's the stoppage.
The win earned the Team Sin Yong Tong fighter a spot in this season's welterweight tournament, where he defeated Jim Wallhead and former Bellator welterweight champion Lyman Good to earn himself a ticket to the tournament final. Huron will look to stabilize Hahn's superior judo and get this fight to the canvas. Meanwhile, Hahn will likely look to avoid Huron's wrestling by keeping this fight standing, as he has shown considerably improved striking. Bellator 43 also features heavyweight tournament finalist Neil Grove going to war with Ultimate Fighter alum Zach Jensen. Grove will look to connect on his lethal straight right to end this fight early. Joe Diesel Riggs makes his Bellator debut as he is paired with Bellator Season 2 middleweight tournament finalist Brian Baker. The UFC veteran is coming off a disappointing loss to Canadian Jordan Mean at Rec MMA 5 and hopes to unload his dangerous ground and pound for the finish. He wants to claim victory number 35. Former WEC bantamweight champion Chase Beebe battles Season 3 bantamweight tournament participant Jose Vega. No surprise here, as Beebe will likely take this fight to the mat, where he boasts 14 submission victories and will look for Vega to go for the knockout.
That is it! Game, set, match! Jose Vega, one-punch knockout!
All the action takes place this Saturday night at the First Council Casino in Newkirk, Oklahoma, and it airs live on MTV2.
That's all for us this week, everybody. Enjoy the fights this coming Saturday night. A big thank you to Corey Erdman, as well as our friends here at the Ballroom in downtown Toronto. For John Pollock and our entire crew here at the Fight Network, thanks a lot for checking us out.
I always thought you were the best. I guess I always will.
Manny is pretty good singer. Yeah, we also sing together.
I had only one friend left. I wanted to be you.
This segment on the Fight Network is brought to you by The Ballroom, downtown Toronto's newest interactive entertainment center.